Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So thank you very much, all of you lovely listeners and viewers for tuning in and Mr. Dave bringing me here and bringing everybody here. So a big, big, big thank you for everybody. Well, thank you. Thank you for being together. It's a beautiful, beautiful community. So my lovely friends, thanks very much for tuning in. I'm your host, Zsuzsanna Hörcsög, a medium, and I'm coming to you live from the UK. And then here we go. Suddenly, I was just thinking, what is the day today? And it's, of course, it's Tuesday. That's why we are here always on Tuesday. So I feel this is, just after nearly like 2 years being here, 70, I think the 78th or the 79th show, this was Zsuzsanna Medium. And oh my goodness me, every time, you know this very well, I'm pinching myself. I'm just so very excited and at the same time grateful. So thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. Now, Today, I'd like to talk to you about something very, very interesting, So if you can see me, or if you can't see me, I will tell you what I'm doing here. I've got a deck of cards in my hand, one of the cards, one of my oldie cards. And I also have a big notebook here. So you don't see anything on the pages here. So what do you think is the correlation or the relationship between a deck of tarot cards and then a notebook with empty, free pieces of sheets, free places or sheets. And then you see, I was quite recently, quite recently, I've been talking to people, especially on my social media pages, about the questions we are asking when it comes to having a reading, especially a psychic reading, not not really the mediumship reading, but the psychic reading. So, when I'm listening to you, I'm immediately hearing your questions. I always ask people, so would you like me to give you a message? Would you like me to focus on one area of your life, or shall I just start as a general reading? So I've got my little introduction. And then that gives an opportunity for you, my lovely listener, to ask a question. And then at the same time, yes, there's definitely a space to self-express ourselves when we are asking questions, because within your question, you are showing me quite a lot, where you are coming from, what is really important for you in your life. But then while you are asking a question, I'm immediately receiving the guidance. So sometimes we are meeting in the middle, and sometimes the guidance is giving you the inspiration, maybe what you wanted to hear, what is really relevant to you. And sometimes the answer comes to a very different question, a question you are not asking. So it's always a very, very creative space. But then quite recently, I've been really, really thinking about the types of questions we are asking when we are asking for a psychic reading. And then you see what happens when we are returning to the same reader time after time, and we are asking the same question, the same question. And then, of course, from our end as readers, we are doing our best, and we are working with your energy in the very moment when we are talking to each other. But then when we are hearing the same question, there is a little space, there is a little opening. So, you are asking the same question. I wonder how much you have taken on from the guidance from your previous session or the previous conversation, since you are asking the same question. And then, of course, for myself as a reader, I'm working with your energy, so I don't mind answering to your question, but I am listening to your question. And what is the intention? What is the energy behind your question? What you want to really know and understand? Or we are just asking the same question time after time, and then we want the other person to tell us what is going to happen to us, and then whether we are going to be okay or not. So quite recently, I've been quite vocal in that sense, really expressing my views on that, because we can be there as readers to give you the guidance, but then what else is there? What else can we give you to empower you? So you see, I'm just going to tell you a little story here. Ages ago, when I got this very, very first deck of cards here, so that was the very, very first deck I got more than 30 years ago. And then you see, at that time, I wasn't really tuning in with my energies, with the readings and all those things, but I was very intuitive. So I started noticing things. And then you see, when I got the card, beautiful, beautiful deck of cards, of course, there is a little booklet in every single deck, whether you are getting tarot cards, oracle cards, angel cards, art cards, anything, there's a little booklet. So what happens when we are beginners? You know, we get the deck of cards. Probably, you know, you will have a card and then you have a little booklet with your cards, and you might have you might have had a little look and try to make sense of the world for yourself, you know, bringing a card for yourself and trying to look it up, you know, and trying to read and trying to understand. But then what happens when we are beginners, you know, when we don't know anything about the cards, when we don't know anything about opening and closing, when we don't know anything about the chakras, when we don't know anything about the energy, when we don't know much about what is happening, but when we want to have the answer, we want to have something and somebody telling us the answer. So we got a deck of cards and then we got a little booklet here. So you see, I remember when I got my card, and of course I picked a card and opened anywhere, and then I was reading whatever was coming up, you know. And then, for instance, if I say that, let me just give you an example. If I have, let's see, if I have a minor arcana, you know, let's say the Five of Swords, it says, one man has taken charge of a raft, leaving two others to fend for themselves, divinatory meaning, and the thinking you have the upper hand will get you nowhere, somewhere, here we go. So I would be reading exactly what is in the booklet, and then while I'm holding the card in my hand and reading the booklet, I'm really desperately trying to understand what it means to me, and then really desperately trying to find at least one keyword in the booklet where I can really hang on, you know, really get myself attached to that word, so that I am making it meaning something to myself and believing that that is what my message. But then you see, when we are in that space that we don't have anything and anybody, and we want to make sense of the world using any cards, so I'm not saying these are not useful, you know, people took time to create their own booklets. But then we can be in a very vulnerable place where we are attaching ourselves to a meaning. We are looking for the answer out there. And then even if you don't have a psychic or a medium or a friend or an intuitive healer or anybody nearby, or if you don't belong to any group, then we might be, or we could be, okay? We could be in a situation where we are really, because we are desperate to know the answer, we are really attaching ourselves to certain meaning, and we might be right, we might be, you know, going in another direction. So really, my conversation here is just inviting you that, you know, if you are in a space that you are using cards or you are using anything and you have a little booklet, then just tune in with the energy, because it can resonate with you, but it can give you a very different answer and a different energy to hold your space and hold your conversation. So you might be misled while you want to believe that that is the answer for you. And then, you see, I remember reading the booklet and so desperately trying to find who is the one who is cheating in my life, because there is somebody on the raft and taking the energy away, because this is the booklet, that is the story in the little booklet. And then you see, we could go to work and we can be amongst our loved ones and thinking, okay, so who is the one the little booklet was talking about, you know? So we need to be very, very mindful. We need to be very, very careful about working with cards and then a little booklets like this. And what I'm saying is that, you know, we can look into, we can have, then you see, we go through the stage that we've got the colorful cards, and then we've got the cards with many, many things happening, you know, lots of visual prompts on the cards. And we get those cards because we believe that there will be something on those cards. We are going to find something on the card which is not on the other card, and then maybe that booklet is going to be more interesting than the one which I could not make really good use of. Maybe there is another booklet or another deck of cards. So just be mindful about that, because if you feel that you are just flowing with the energy and trying to ground yourself and trying to find the meaning there, especially if you don't have anybody to hold the space for you, then you are giving away your own power. And then you might be misled. So we need to be mindful about how we are working with all the tools what we have here. So you see, the other thing is, now let's talk about this one, the empty page in a new notebook. We want to find the answer. We are looking for the answer. We are asking. We are in conversation. We are searching. We are desperate. We are vulnerable. We want to know right now the answer. While we are maybe not really reflecting on what is really our reality. So my conversation here is that, yes, have a tool, start working with it, start working with the energy, but at the same time, get a pen, just a very, very simple pen and a little notebook, and start writing down what is really your conversation. Start writing down charts or bullet points or mind map, or draw a picture, or put some music on and do some dancing, and then come back and draw and come back and write something down, because that energy is going to come from within. Ask a question. Be in a space that actually I am inviting the energy, the highest of the highest energy. I want to work with that energy. I am receiving the guidance from within. So we need to have responsibility. We need to bring the power back to ourselves, okay? So very, very quick little conversation, just being responsible for our situation and our conversations and the steps what we are taking forward. So my lovely friends, I hope it resonated with you. Let me know what you got out of this conversation. Feel free to contact me. All the details are underneath the picture, underneath the frame here. I'm going to be back in 7 days' time. And from this space, I'm sending lots of love, many, many blessings, and speak to you next week. Thanks very much. Thanks. Bye. Thank you.